Now, it is the most enduring Ghanaian constitution, securing the longest and most stable democracy in Ghana. But Joy News can confirm that John Mahamas, the president, has plans to review the constitution of the Republic of Ghana. Since 2010, successive Ghanaian presidents have been unable to implement a constitutional review commission report, which is recommending some drastic changes to Ghana's constitutions. Let's tell you more in this report.
The administration is resolutely committed to strengthening our justice system to ensure judicial independence and address the systemic inequalities that currently exist. I can assure you that this administration will work tirelessly to ensure that every Ghanaian, regardless of your status or background, is treated with dignity and afforded equal protection under the law. Amir, Chairman, my brothers and sisters, to achieve this objective of justice, we would have to move the stalled constitutional review process forward. To achieve this, I would soon establish a committee to begin the planning of a national constitutional review validation conference to achieve broad consensus on the way forward for the constitutional amendments that we have all proposed.
Now, chairperson of the Constitution Review Consultative Committee, Clara Kasser Tee, has welcomed the decision by President John Mahamas to proceed with the constitutional review process.
I don't think that it's early in the day, in the sense that when he was making his campaign, if I recall correctly, constitutional review was part of his campaign. So I do not think it's early days yet. Also because constitutional review does take some process. It is not something that you can do in one day. So you need to start at some point and work towards the goal. And we have to remember that for the current president, he has just one term. He has just 4 years to be able to pursue this that he has committed himself to. So I do not think that it is too early. There are quite a number of key issues that we believe that the president could consider. For example, the capping the size of parliament, addressing the issue of whether or not we want ministers to come from parliament or we want parliamentarians to focus on the work of parliament. Of course, in addition, in connection with capping the size of parliament also includes, of course, capping the constituencies. There are also issues about capping the president's power of appointment. How many ministers, for example, that he or she can appoint. We know that the current constitution leaves it to the president to decide. So a president under the current constitutional dispensation can appoint as many ministers as he or she wants.
President John Mahamas has assured Ghanaians of a reliable electricity supply amidst concerns about a potential power crisis. Speaking during his first public engagement after being sworn in as Ghana's president at the 92nd Annual National Convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission at Pomadze in the Central Region, he urged citizens not to lose hope, emphasizing that his government was elected to address challenges. He promised to ensure a consistent power supply and prevent doomsday.
Let me give you examples of some of the challenges we face immediately. For instance, a planned shutdown of the West African gas pipeline was supposed to take place in October last year. At the intervention of this government, it was postponed till January. This is a long delayed maintenance and has to be urgently done. But what it means is that there will be no gas available for all our generating plants in the east of Ghana, that is the Tema Enclave, because it will have curtailed the gas coming from Nigeria and the gas that comes in the reverse flow from our gas processing plants in the west. And so it means that the thermal generating plants in the Tema enclave would have no access to gas. And normally, to forestall blackouts because of the loss of almost 2,000 megawatts of power, we have to make provision for fuel. And this is light crude oil, heavy fuel oil, and distillate fuel. Unfortunately, enough provision was not made for this eventuality. When the fuel arrives, it takes time to import it, 3 weeks to place an order and get it delivered. And when it arrives, you have to treat the fuel for another week and a half to make it ready for use in the generating plants. And so there's a threat of power outages. But my brothers and sisters, don't despair. Like I said, you elected us to solve the problems, not to put the blame on anybody else or to shoulder you with those problems. And so yesterday I called a meeting of all the stakeholders in the electricity value chain. And they have been sitting since yesterday to today to come out with innovative solutions so that we're able to keep the lights on. And so I can assure you, with some of the ideas they've come up with, we would make sure that your lights stay on and that we do not have doomsday, as you popularly call it.
Let's move on to other news stories. And Minority Leader Alexander Penyumakin is slamming President John Mahama, insisting he is being slow in nominating persons as ministers. John Mahamas yesterday presented Dr. Kasser Tee as Finance Minister Designate, John Jinapor as Energy Minister Designate, and Dr. Dominic Ayeni as Attorney General and Minister for Justice Designate. But reacting to the nominations on the floor, the Minority Leader described the approach adopted by the minister as tot, and also criticized the government for publishing the names before they were read in Parliament. There's more in this report.
The first set of ministerial nominees by John Mahamas has been received by Parliament, with the Speaker announcing the 3 persons: Finance Minister Designate, Energy Minister Designate, as well as the Attorney General and Minister for Justice Designate, and referred to the Appointment Committee of Parliament. But not without some little controversy, as usual, from Parliament. The Minority Leader, Alexander Penyumakin, said the President is simply doing tot appointment, and he expects that John Mahama will bring the full complement of his cabinet and ministerial nominees to Parliament as soon as possible.
When the names were read out by Mr. Speaker, he read out only 3 names: the Finance Minister Designate, the Energy Minister Designate, and the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Designate. Mr. Speaker, this tot appointment is unacceptable. When are the rest of the ministers? You must be ready. We want to hear Ama Kofi Bua. We want to hear Agric. We want to hear a Greek ministry. Honorable Erikopoku.
Honorable Leader.
Honorable Erikopoku.
Honorable Minority Leader.
We want to hear a Greek ministry. We want to hear roads and highways.
Honorable Minority Leader.
We want to hear lands and natural resources.
Honorable Minority Leader.
Education.
Minority Chief Whip Frank Anodompre is also promising that his side will be rigorous in the vetting process.
We on the minority side will be ready for you at the Appointment Committee. We want to caution your nominee to come prepared. It's not going to be business as usual. Come prepared. I hope you'll be prepared when you appear before the Appointment Committee.
But the majority leadership have been taking aim at their colleagues on the other side in terms of how they are running commentary on some of these issues in Parliament.
We've been indulging him because we understand this difficult transition. And we believe that we should allow him to basically bring out all the pains of losing But we want to remind him that his responsibility is to ensure that the business of this house flows. And we expect you to be productive. We expect you to cooperate as we did to ensure that government business is done. For now, we are indulging you because we know the painful transition you are going through.
Parliament has now agreed that once they are on break between now and the 21st of January, if any more appointment come from the president, they will refer same to the appointment committee, even when it has not been read on the floor as is mandated by the standing orders. The standing orders, those strict rules have now been suspended to allow the speaker to make that referral to the appointment committee as soon as it hit the speaker's desk. We do not also know yet when exactly the appointment committee will start working on the nominees in terms of the vetting process. But the indication we are getting is that as soon as next week, the modalities for this vetting process will be announced and the vetting will start taking place here in Parliament. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
Moving on, traders at the KJTR market in Kumasi are uneasy about the recent fire outbreaks in some big markets in the country early this month. The recent fire outbreaks have raised concerns about the safety and security of the markets, with traders calling on authorities and the government to take immediate action to address the situation. President of the Federation of Traders at KJTR market, Nana Akwesi Prempeh, says the security has been on high alert since the fire outbreaks in Kantamanto, Kwadaso Wood Market and Tamale Timber Market. Here's a report by Nana Boache Yadom.
According to the traders, a space gutted by fire in the market 2 years ago is yet to be reconstructed, leaving affected traders abandoned and stranded. President of the Federation of Traders at the KJTR market, Nana Akwesi Prempeh, says following the recent fire incidents in some major markets, the security agencies have been engaged for the KJTR market to be placed on high alert.
These fire outbreaks, we in KJTR here are also apprehensive, because in about 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, there was a similar fire outbreak within the KJTR market. Unfortunately, almost 2 years down the line, repair works at the bench shops have not been done. Our colleague traders who were affected, no one has gone to their aid. They are still in their house, hoping that one day someone will come to their aid. So when we heard of the fire outbreaks at the various markets, we also became apprehensive that because before the elections, we were hearing about, some people planning to cause arson in the market. So we were always on high alert.
The Ashanti Regional Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service has cautioned the public, especially traders in congested markets, to take the necessary precautions to prevent fire outbreaks.
Our market women should be cautious on what we do at our market. I know most of the market managers don't allow the market women to cook at the market, but some of them just hide their cylinders and do whatever they do. And bear in mind that even though the markets are controlled by the market managers, but the investment is your own investment. If caution is not taken and fire destroys the market, it is your investment that has been destroyed.
Nana Prempeh has called for an emergency meeting of all stakeholders to ensure the traders comply with the time of opening and closing of the markets.
Our appeal to the coordinating director of the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, the management of this facility and the new government, that as a matter of urgency, they should call an emergency meeting involving all stakeholders who have interest in the KJTR market. What I propose is that there are bylaws in the market, whereas time of closing the market is they open the market at 5:30 a.m. and close it at 7 a.m. They should ensure that every trader adhere to this.
For Joy News, Nana Boache Yadom, Kumasi.
Now, still in Kumasi, traders at the racecourse market say they have become frequent targets of armed thugs and attempted kidnappings in recent weeks. According to them, their lives are at risk as they are attacked at gunpoint and robbed of money and other valuables. The situation has become increasingly terrifying, especially for women who rise early to balance their livelihoods with family responsibilities. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin spoke to victims of these attacks and filed this report.
In a shocking incident, Rose Ekia Brobe, a trader at the racecourse market, was attacked by armed men while in a taxi cab. She was robbed of her 60,000 cedis.
While on my way to the racecourse, I was robbed at Kinky Junction. I boarded a taxi, but unfortunately, it was a setup. The occupant used a substance to knock me out and threatened me with a gun and knife.
They robbed me of 60,000 cedis, phones, valuable items, and even physically assaulted me.
Before they left, they threatened to shoot me if I screamed. I promised not to shout, and they abandoned me behind the Ebenezer tree at the Tafu Cemetery.
600 million. Me bag, me bibia, me phone, me bag, bibia.
Rose says the incident has affected her financial savings and business. Rose's story is not an isolated one. Several other traders at the market have been victims of similar attacks in recent times. Here is Madam Ajwa.
I had an experience recently. I got into a car with only 2 other passengers. When I looked up, I saw a sign that read, "Ghost only." I was scared and quickly made up an excuse, telling the driver I had left my phone and money behind and needed to get out. I promptly got off the car.
In a particularly alarming incident, 2 traders were recently targeted in an attempted kidnapping along the Mampong Road. The traders had requested a lift from a car near Meduma, planning to head to Racecourse Market. However, the driver and a suspected accomplice drove them towards the Mampong stretch instead of the intended Kumasi route. Thankfully, good Samaritans intervened, rescuing the traders. The situation has caught the attention of the Queen Mother of the racecourse, Bantima and Swami markets, Nana Chiwa. Alarmed by the rising insecurity, she is calling for increased security measures to protect the traders.
We are appealing to the Ghana Police Service to address this issue this year. We urge them to tighten security so that criminals won't have the chance to rob our market women.
Report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
Samuel Kojo Brace is standing by to serve you business updates next.
Let's do business on the AM News, and the Ghanaian business community has expressed their readiness and commitment to work with the Minister-designate for Finance, Dr. Kasser Tee, as he awaits his approval by the Appointment Committee of Parliament. Dr. Kasser Tee, John Jenapo, and Dominic Ayine were the first set of ministerial nominees of President John Mahamas. Speaking to Joy Business, President of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Stefan Abbas Miezan, said he is optimistic Dr. Forson will deliver.
The business community is forever and ever ready, but it all depends on what incentives are they bringing on board to encourage the business community to get on board, or the policies that the government wants to ensure that it benefits the business community to get on board to ensure that it realizes its full potential. So the business community is very, very much ready to work with and collaborate with the government. We want to encourage the government to look at policies that would bring about private-public partnerships, because, like it has already been said, it's going to be difficult for us to get back on the international market. So now we need the businessmen and the business community to come in and partner the government on the local front. So it's very important. What incentives is the government bringing to us?
Well, Ghana's foreign direct investment has experienced significant fluctuations over the past few years. Now, in 2023, FDI inflows amounted to $1.32 billion, reflecting a 7.64% decline from the previous year, according to data from the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. Speaking in an interview with Joy Business, economist Benjamin Amoah expressed optimism about President John Mahamas' 24-hour policy, highlighting its potential to boost the nation's FDI in the medium to long term.
It is, in fact, because if you have had preliminary discussions and preliminary insight into the policy, we have heard that electricity rates and tariffs will be staggered or will be fixed in such a way that companies that choose to operate within the 24-hour economic cycle will have some different tariff structure to encourage them to operate 24 hours. If you are a foreign company and you want to do business, you may want to look at this aspect of the economy and see what you can do to take advantage of this incentive. So clearly, there's a lot that can be done within the 24-hour economy. Again, that is not the only thing that will drive foreign direct investment into the country. Ease of doing business, bureaucracy, corruption, exchange rate, inflation, interest rate, this will all come in to mix up to create that atmosphere that we need to rebound the country back onto its place as a host for international business.
And that's it for the business update on the AM News, but I'll leave you with currency market updates.
And that wraps up the AM News Bulletin. On the AM show, the conversations begin with the News Review segment. And who's joining us for News Review today? Andrew Appiah-Dankwa is a legal practitioner and member of Movement for Change. Professor Isaac Boedi is Dean, Accounting and Finance at UPSA, and Kwame Nkrumah Botsiu is General Secretary of CPP. They're joining us now for the News Review. But for now, off I pop.